here. I'm really
Thank you for
excited
having
to
me.
have you on the show. And yeah, as well, like now that it is Abundant Self, that we had this kind of like rebrand, it's really exciting to also bring on guests that can, um, yeah, just share a little bit about their story. So, Abundant Self, I mean, what you're doing right now, or what you've been doing for the last 2 years, is has a lot to do with abundance, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, I love that you've rebranded the podcast.
Me too. So, tell me a little bit about you, and also, obviously, for the ones who are listening right now, who are you? What are you doing? Everything.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm first of all very happy to be here. And yes, my name is Alisa. I am a mindset and self-discovery coach. Yes, like you mentioned, for 2 years now. And I help women like gain clarity around who they are, who they want to be, or who they want to become. What is their ultimate life vision, I would say. And yeah, just because I think it's so important to know, first of all, who you are and where you want to go. It's something that gives you so much self-confidence and self-awareness. And yeah, it helps you really create that abundant life, or that abundant lifestyle, is your abundant self.
Mhm.
Like basically when you know what you want, and then you can let go of anything, any limitations to keep you stuck in your like lower self maybe. Yeah,
Mhm.
so this is
Yeah,
why I
and
love this topic.
yeah, so like finding a mission, like sorry, a vision, like this whole kind of self-discovery process. Maybe we can go like back to the very beginning and start off by explaining what even is a vision. I mean, if I'm now
Mm-hmm.
listening and I'm like, but I don't really know what my vision is for life, um, what would you suggest, or what is something that you're like, okay, it is so easy. Like, does everybody has a vision, or what? How would you define it,
Mm-hmm.
the vision itself?
Um, yeah, I think I do think that everyone kind of has a vision, but like I think many times we don't allow ourselves to go a little bit deeper into that. So maybe the first entry point to that is, you know, finding out things that you don't like about your life right now, and then just go, okay, what would be something that I would like more, to kind of create that vision in your head about where you would like to go, where you would want your life to go. So yeah, it's basically just to be able to see something like in front of your eyes, or imagine how you want your life to be like, and how you want to be like. What are your character traits that you would like to embody more of? Where do you see yourself in like 5 years? It's the question
Yeah,
that I hated when I was younger.
we
But
all
I
do.
think yeah, but I think it's actually important to have an answer to that. And it doesn't mean that you have to be in that place in 5 years. Definitely not. I think you could totally change directions many times. But I think if you don't know where you want to go, or who you want to become, um, I think life will just throw you around, and you're going to end up somewhere where you didn't even want to be in the first place. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a really good answer. Sorry, go ahead. What did you say
No,
next?
I just wanted to say that's why I think it's important. I was finished. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it is so important. And so would you say like this is something we should even be like taught in school, or like would you say this is something that as a teenager we should already like practice and sit down and like really um take our time to think about what is what I want to achieve? What is
Yeah.
that vision? Where do I want to be?
Yeah. Oh my God. I think that would be so good if we had that
Mhm.
in school. I was struggling to answer this question for such a long time in my own life, because I
Yeah.
think I never learned it. Like, no one ever asked me those
Mhm.
questions. And then suddenly you're, I don't know, 18 years old, at least here in Germany, and you're done with school. And then the world is like, no, you should know what you want.
Yep.
And before coming to that point, you never needed to know what you want, because everything was planned out for you.
Mhm.
And yeah, if I don't know if there was a way to put something in school to have a class where they teach that, it would be amazing, I think.
Yeah, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? I mean, there are tons of
totally.
things probably that right now come to my mind that we should be taught in
Hmm.
school. Um,
I also like
so many things.
taxes.
Taxes. I was just about to say that, like how to start your own business.
Yeah.
We should
Maybe
learn
it's
it.
because maybe it's because I don't know, the world doesn't want us to start our own businesses, or I don't know why we don't learn that. But yeah, I think if more people would learn more about themselves, we would
Mm.
have so much more like businesses
Oh,
and people would do their own things. Yeah.
totally, totally. And I feel like just what you were mentioning about the whole like like self-discovery process and how to find your vision. I guess I remember even in my school, like from my graduation, I guess like probably 80% were like, what should I do now? You know, they finished school and they were
Hmm.
like, I knew I want to go traveling. So I had it like already, okay, it's a thing, it's my vision. I need to travel after graduation. So I went to Australia for a year, but like so many didn't know what to do. They didn't know, do I want to go traveling? Do I want to go start my studies? Do I want to study? Do I want to go to university at all? Like there was just this huge question mark. And I feel like, just as you mentioned before, we are kind of like that, we're trimmed and we're like on this path, just following what everybody else does. Of course, we need to finish school. And this one main goal we have is like Abitur, which is A levels. You know, we need to
Hmm.
finish graduation. And then that's it. And then, like,
Yeah.
really, like, really few, as I say, maybe 20% or so, they know what comes afterwards, or they already have a plan for afterwards. But many get stuck, and then you're 18, 19, and you're like, what now?
Hmm.
um so would you say, like, if someone is at that point right now and is like, okay, maybe then they start studying and they just do it because, again, the path, and because they follow it, they don't really want to do it, but they just like keep going, and don't look out of the box. But at one point they're like, this doesn't really fulfill me, like this life I'm living, it doesn't really make me happy. What would you say is like the main advice from you as like this self-discovery coach? Would you say you see like a pattern um with your clients being like, okay, I
Hmm.
need to break out, now is the time to find myself? What would you say is kind of the main idea behind that? Or
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think my like number one advice would be don't do something just to distract yourself from this question. So
Mm-hmm.
many people, and I did that too. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and this is why I started studying. And I studied something that I wasn't passionate about. It was just like, hey, this is the thing that makes the most sense because I wasn't good at math. So I studied linguistics, and yeah, it was so bad. Oh my god, I hated it. Every cell of my being, I hated it. Um,
Oh.
and so this is why maybe I think traveling is actually a really good idea. I wouldn't tell anyone to, yeah, just go traveling because this can be a distraction too, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it helps you with the, this is another advice that I would give. It's like, it always comes down to the intention that you have with everything that you do. If you go traveling with the intention to get to know yourself better and gain more confidence and find out what you're really passionate about and just see the world, so maybe because you want to find out where do I want to live one day or whatever, then that's a really good intention, I guess, to quote unquote find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
um, but if you just feel like, and this was me, like I don't really know if I want to travel. I kind of like want to just start working or doing something productive. And that's why I just was like, okay, I just need to study and then find a job and go down that path. But that was actually the most unproductive thing that I could have done, um, because it wasn't helping me to find my vision. So
Mm-hmm.
I think my advice would be, if you don't know what you want to do, maybe it's better to not do anything for a little time and just
Mm-hmm.
reflect more about, okay,
Okay.
who do I want to be? What do I like? What's important to me, and why is it important? And if I could do anything, what would I do? Or if I would never get paid for whatever, what would I do then? Stuff like that. I think I would say, yeah, ask yourself really good questions. And yeah, so I love that you had this goal and you knew that you wanted to go traveling and you went to Australia. So I never had that experience, and it's something that I'm maybe curious about. Would you say that you went with this intention to find out more about yourself, or would you say maybe looking back at it now, it was more like a distraction, but it helped you anyways? Or yeah, I don't know.
No, I definitely do not think it was a distraction. Like that's the whole like that was so powerful because I knew I wanted to go travel since high school. So I did an exchange year when I was in 10th grade. I went for 10 months to Florida. And so I went to a high school there and I already knew, okay, after I'm done, I'm gonna go again. I didn't know where I want to go, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go learn more about myself, get to know myself like on a deeper level, and also be independent, because that's something that my kind of like my soul always is like expressing, this like independence and freedom, and not being like following the path. And if someone wants to do that and someone like has the vision or the goal to like study something in specific or be a lawyer, and that's their purpose and that's what they want to do and that makes them happy, that's amazing, like I'm like,
Yes.
go for it, that's so cool. But for me it just wasn't the right thing to go and study, so I always knew that I need this time to just like be myself and experiment and yeah, get to know myself a little bit more. So, and it never
So good.
stopped, like I started actually um I went to Australia for a year and it just never stopped. And I went to Chile and I stayed in Chile. So yeah, I started my business. So in the end, I guess like I always knew that going like this traditional path of university isn't just it's just not that the right thing for me. Maybe not at that point, maybe sometime later, but just it wasn't something I wanted to do. Now,
So good.
but yeah, the thing is like speaking of kind of also like this traditional path, don't you think it's so easy to say always like, oh, just do it and follow it and like have this vision, but like the pressure, I mean, real talk now, the pressure from the outside is so big. I don't know
Yes.
if you see that with your clients. Do you have like there's some kind of like tips or advice that you're like, okay, let's just keep this, like take this pressure off and just like, society, please stay away. It is my path. It is my life. What do you think is like a tangible, like almost action step for someone out there listening to do right now, right here? Kind of like, I don't know, not feeling so much pressure from the outside and from society standards and what the parents say, the family, and all that, in consideration of
Yes.
like following your vision.
Such a good question. If we could just like leave everyone out, it would be amazing. Well, I think at the end it comes down to how much of a connection you have to yourself and also your intuition. Because for me, it was so important to practice getting more connected to myself and my own opinions and to my intuition, because I think when you have a really good connection to yourself and to your intuition, it almost becomes impossible to listen to what other people say, because your heart, or I don't know, your higher self, your intuition, whatever, it just gets so loud that you can't do that for a long time. So I think a tangible action step would be to do more practices that help you connect with yourself and with your intuition. And for me, that's meditation. I started to meditate, I think 3 or 4 years ago. I don't really remember when it was exactly, but I'm doing this like, I think it's almost like on the weekends. Sometimes I don't, but it's almost every day that I meditate for 15 to 20 minutes. And it's really, I think, one of the best practices to connect with your own inner voice and your intuition.
Yeah.
Also, journaling can be great. Like I said before, start asking yourself really good questions. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. It's so easy. I often get the question like, hey, but what questions can I ask myself? And I totally get it. Maybe it's not so easy for you to like pull out really good questions from within, but you can like literally Google it, like Google questions to reflect yourself, or you can sign up for people's newsletters. Like, for example, in my newsletter every 2 weeks, I share journaling prompts that could help you do that, and many other people do that too. So yeah, meditation, journaling, and maybe also just like when someone says something that you don't agree with, challenge yourself to like share your opinion.
Yeah, I knew you would say that. Step up in your power and like express yourself anyways.
Yes. Yeah. And this is so hard, and
it is
I
so hard.
still sometimes struggle with it. Like, it depends on who the other person is that is in front of me. But yeah, it's the best thing you can do to connect to yourself and your intuition, to just be like, hey, I don't know, but I feel like I disagree with that, and I'm not gonna stay quiet. I'm gonna say what I think.
Yeah. Kind of like this authenticity part, just like being your most authentic self, and starting to express the opinion no matter what. And if there is like the uncle or the family member who might look weird at you or be like, why do you think that and stuff, like, it's your opinion, you can express it freely.
Yes. And I don't know, I had the experience that people enjoy having those conversations with you. I mean, I am bored by a person who always says, oh yes, that's right. And I would love for other people to share their opinions so that we can have a discussion about it. So why don't I, why can I do that?
Oh, same. Or like, even I mean, it's okay, if you don't have an opinion always 100%, like, that's fine. But sometimes when there are people who like never have an opinion, and they kind of like, it's so hard, I want to like shake this person, shake it, and be like, have an opinion. Like, you need to know, like, where do you want to go out for dinner, or like, what do you want to eat? I'm not sure. I don't. You choose. I'm like, no, you choose. Like, I could get so frustrated about it, because I mean, it took me a while to express my opinion and to be like now at the point where I'm like being my most authentic self, and I'm not afraid to speak up, and I'm not afraid to voice to also raise my voice, but like, I just like wish everybody would be at that same point, or like, just being able to stand up and be like, that's my opinion, I want to have sushi for dinner or whatever.
I feel you.
But what do you say? Because these people, like, obviously it's hard, like, it's sometimes hard. You're afraid to get judged, or like, what do the other people think about me if I do that or say that? It also obviously comes back to like self-love. So do you say there is like a certain practice besides obviously like meditating and journaling, which is awesome, but is there anything else that you did for yourself in order to like voice and like share what you're thinking? Anything that maybe in your life was kind of like a game changer that made you like open your eyes and be like, hey, I need to now voice what I'm thinking and voice.
Yep. Yeah, I think it just often comes down to people pleasing. And yes, being the good girl. And I have had that, and I still have people pleasing tendencies, of course. I think it's an ongoing process. But to get better at, speaking your mind and saying what you think. And I think it's important to know your needs. And this comes back to the self-discovery part, like getting to know yourself better and just find out what are your values, your core values, what's important to you, and what are your needs. Like, what do you need to feel good? For me, it's something that's really a need for me is to have enough me time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh
I
yes.
am more of an introvert, I would say. I can be an extrovert, of course, but I need a lot of alone time and just to recharge. I recharge
Mm-hmm.
by having some time alone. And I don't know, 3 years ago or so, I had no time alone. I was always with friends, family, my boyfriend, and then I was always a little bit like, okay, why am I feeling so drained?
Mm-hmm.
Or I always said yes to whatever friend asked me, you want to go do this or that? And maybe sometimes there was this fear that if I say no, it would be mean, like I don't want to spend time with them
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. Um, but yeah, this was something where I could practice. First of all, finding out, okay, what is it that drains me? And it was just like too much social activity for me at that time. So I started to set boundaries, not with the other people, but with myself, to
With
just,
yourself.
before I say yes, if I feel like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to do it, then maybe say something like, I would love that, but I have to check on whatever if I have time that day, and I'll come back to you later. And then I had more time to reflect with myself, be like, hey, do I really want to do this? And then I could say, you know what, I actually have a very full schedule next week. Maybe we could do it another time. Um, Small things like that. But yeah, I had to gain clarity about what are my needs first, and then find like more ways to show up for my own needs and take that
Mm-hmm.
alone time. Yeah.
Yeah. Even just now, when we scheduled this podcast, it was also this episode. You were saying, like, open and honest. You know what? Sunday, it just doesn't fit in with my schedule. How about Tuesday? Bam, listo.
Yes.
Like, you know?
And I think as
And
long as you just make another suggestion, like I then
yeah,
did, and ask if Tuesday is fine for you, then it's never mean. The other person
no,
is, it's totally fine.
at
Mean would
all.
only be
Yeah.
like, I don't have time on Sunday, and then that's it.
Yeah,
That would
exactly.
maybe
Like,
be mean.
I mean, yeah and no. I think like it is also important because I listened actually yesterday. I listened to a podcast episode which it spoke exactly about like this like people pleasing tendencies and like stop being the good girl always. And she spoke about that sometimes we come up with these excuses, but sometimes we also don't need excuses. Like if you
Hmm.
just don't feel like it or you just don't want to, like either first, why don't you just say the truth? You know, why don't you just
Yeah.
say, you know what? I really don't feel like going out today. And that's it. No, we come up with excuses and that also leads back to our people pleasing tendencies in the end because
True.
we need to like tell, no, I have this and I have this and I have this instead of just being like, it doesn't really fit into my schedule. Let's just do it another day.
Hmm.
But
Or
like,
if you don't want to do it, then you don't even
exactly.
have to say it to another day to say, I don't want to do
Yeah.
this. Let's never do
Yeah,
this.
totally. Or be like, and I just learned that now. I'm just learning that as I grow as well and like in my personal development journey, that sometimes some friendships just don't feel that aligned anymore, and that's okay too. You
Mm.
know, you have to like be able to then just let go and be like, okay, you know what? I just right now I just don't feel it so much, or yeah, it's just not vibing. And it's not mean to say that either because the other person would, first of all, the other person deserves to know the truth, and also the other person obviously would feel it too if you're just forcing yourself to come to the meeting, for example.
Yes.
um
Yes.
like
You're
energies
doing them
never
no
lie.
favor. Hmm.
I know how yeah, our mentor, she says energies never lie. I mean, the energy is there or it isn't, you know, and I mean it's always there, but like the connection is there or it isn't, and if the connection isn't there, then the whole vibe and the whole energy is just like kind of like off. And
Yes.
then obviously that's not um that's not like the best foundation for a friendship anyway. And then you just be like, okay, you know what, maybe we had like amazing 8 years of friendship together, but now I'm growing, I'm evolving, and maybe there's another friendship out there.
Yes. And maybe you're even being an inspiration for them in this moment. And maybe not. Like it came up for
Yeah.
me in the past too, when there were friends who were in their party phase still, and they just weren't interested in, I don't know, building their own stuff, business, whatever, personal development. And yeah, it wasn't aligned anymore. And so yeah, that can happen, of course. Yeah.
So now, like, to kind of like wrap up this whole conversation is about like vision and finding yourself. I think I am 100% sure that our listeners right now at least have like kind of more of a deeper understanding of what the self vision is and how you can find it. I'm seeing a vision board right there in the back of the picture. So do you think that also would be a suggestion for someone listening out there who's really, really new to all this and who doesn't really know about self-discovery? Would you say make a vision board? Like that's one of the steps how you can get closer to your vision?
Yes, absolutely. I'm all about vision boards.
Yeah,
But
cool.
I think it is a tool that you can use after gaining a little more clarity around what your vision is. Like I wouldn't
Mhm.
go on Pinterest or Instagram, whatever, and just look for inspiring pictures. Because then I think I would end up having a vision board, but maybe not my vision board, because there will always be pictures that I love and that I think, oh yeah, this could be my life one day. And then I put a picture of a van there or whatever. Um, I think I would start by answering some journaling prompts around what would I do if I wasn't afraid, or like if I had $1,000,000 tomorrow, what would I do with them or whatever. And then finding pictures that fit to these answers
Yeah.
that you gave. Then you really have your own vision board afterwards. And yeah, I would totally do that. It's something that I do with my clients too in my coaching program. So it's super nice. And I would do it like I have done it with like a physical vision board that you can really put in your room. I wouldn't do it like on just my laptop or so, because I think
Mhm.
there's a whole different energy to it if you can
Yeah.
touch it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that, like that it's better to first journal and get clear, and then eventually like print out the pictures that or look for the pictures that fit what you wrote.
Mhm.
But it makes so
Yes.
much sense. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if you were very clear on your vision and what you want, you can start searching for pictures right away. But I would maybe still, in my head, before I just search for pictures, write down some notes on what kind of pictures I am looking for,
Hmm.
just to like I said, have your vision board and the pictures that you really want.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Alicia, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for sharing all your knowledge and yeah, just like kind of give us this insight in what it looks like to get your own vision. And if you feel lost or don't really know where to go, that there's always a way in like turning inwards and meditating, journaling, creating a vision board, all these things we were talking about. And also like of course listening to your intuition and to this like inner knowing regardless of what other people say or the path
Mm.
or society. So yeah, thank you a lot. Now, if you want, you can tell our listeners where to find you, Instagram, and so on.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Of course.
And yeah, it was so much fun. I love talking about those topics. And yeah, for everyone who wants to like find out a little more about what I do and how I do it, I think they can best find me on Instagram. It's my name at Alica Preetz.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a website and a blog on my website where you could read some articles about those topics, but it's all in German because I only coach in German, at least thus far.
For now.
So yeah, for now. But yeah, maybe you have some German listeners as well, and then they can
Oh
totally
yeah.
get inspired.
Yeah, for sure. I'll put it in the show notes, all the details, and maybe we even do another episode one day, all in German. Who knows?
Yeah, it would be super
It would be
nice.
fun.
Yes.
Definitely.